Kamigawa Neon Dynasty has just experienced another leak, and this one is quite significant. It has given us images of all 5 of Kamigawa's mythic legendary dragons, and these dragons are incredibly powerful.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered to look at some more Kamigawa Neon Dynasty spoilers, and these ones are quite delicious indeed. Now, before we dive in, I do want to offer an apology for the sound quality in this video. I'm currently reorganizing this office. Everything has been taken out, and it creates kind of a cavernous sound. So I've placed foam around the microphone. I'm hoping it will diminish it to a degree, but I understand the quality on this video ain't that hot sound-wise, so just bear with me. Now, let's take a look at the dragons. Up on the screen, you are going to see the leak. Somebody leaked all 5 dragons. Now, I know there are people out there who think that these leaks are intentional by Wizards. I'm not 100% sure. On one hand, I understand, hey, leaks can generate hype, but on the other hand, Wizards does like to hand out spoilers very tight-reined to all these different individuals. And by having 5 mythic dragons spoiled this way, it kind of does remove the thunder, and this is before the spoiler season even starts. So I'm inclined to believe that this is a genuine accidental leak. Now, the 5 dragons we have here are actually the reincarnations of the original 5 Kamigawa dragons. It's an interesting story that actually has artwork to accompany it. So we will talk about that after we've gone through all of the spoilers. We'll talk about how they reincarnated into these variations. So we're going to start in the very center with the white dragon, whose name is Ow? I'm not 100% sure. When I read that, I went, A-O, and then my brain immediately went, oh, hey, Tony Danza! It's the Tony Danza dragon in my mind. That's how I'm always going to look at this thing. Anyhow, it is a powerful card. 2 white and 3 gets you a 5/4 flyer with vigilance, and every one of these dragons has a death trigger. So once it goes to the graveyard, you get to pick one of 2 effects. So AO Tony Danza's abilities are, look at the top 7 cards of your library, choose any number of non-land permanents with total mana value 4 or less, put them onto the battlefield, put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library. So when AO Tony Danza hits the graveyard, you get to look at the top 7 cards, pick out any number of permanents that all add up to 4, and put them straight into play. That's one option. The other option is to put 2 +1/+1 counters on each permanent you control that is a creature or a vehicle. And that is pretty wild, honestly. The fact that you could beef up a gigantic army with it is really impressive. And it also led to a hilarious joke somebody made on Reddit. I wish I could remember their name, but I saw it in passing, where it was basically like, my followers, as my dying wish, pimp my ride. I thought that was pretty funny. The boosting up of vehicles is a very odd choice. Like, somehow this dragon has aligned with the more technological world and can now infuse its spirit not only into living beings, but also into your motorcycle and your toaster and stuff. Hey, Ayo Tony Danza, thanks for operating my toaster for me, bro. You made it beefier. I don't know. It's a weird idea. The artwork's awesome, though. Look at him. He looks crazy. He's got this big flaring sort of lizard-like head dress. I don't even know what you call that, right? But looks really impressive. And it's interesting that while this is a white aligned dragon, its body actually appears to be mostly black and has just the white flare fringing out along its lizard spine mane and everything, right? This is a very potent card in my opinion. The next card we have is Kairi, the Swirling Sky. And 2 dragons in a row, it triggered a random memory in my brain. I went, oh, simple and clean, Kairi, no! You guys know what I'm talking about from Kingdom Hearts? The first Kingdom Hearts was amazing. And that's what I reference when I think of Kairi. So every time I put this out, I'm just going to look at my opponent and be like, hold me, and just start singing the song. But anyhow, Kairi is 2 blue and 4. For a unknown power and toughness, flying Ward 3 beast. It's really weird that whoever did this chose to set these up in this way. And actually, now that I mention it, if you're looking at this image and you're wondering, is this a bus stop that I'm looking at? Like, my first thought when I looked at this picture was, yo, are these cards out at a bus stop? But no, apparently, according to some people who are more familiar with what they're looking at, this is actually a sign out front of a store in Finland. This is apparently in Finland. And take an even closer look at the image, and you might notice that it looks like all 5 of these dragons have been laminated. When you first look at it, you might go, no, it looks like they're in penny sleeves. Sorry, friend, but penny sleeves don't have rounded corners. If you look at these dragons, if you get really close on the image, it genuinely does look like these are 5 laminated Kamigawa Neon Dynasty dragon cards, right? And I mean, we know this isn't a fake because we've already seen some of these dragons spoiled in previous iterations with those really crushed, awful artwork and stuff like that. We know these are the legit cards, but this is definitely a weird way to have them spoiled. So as a result of the way this is set up, Kairi is the one we actually have the absolute least information about, but we still do have a lot of information. So 6 mana gets you a flyer with Ward 3, and it has the following abilities when it goes to the graveyard. Return any number of target non-land permanents with total mana value X to owner's hands. We don't know the mana value X because you can't see it under there. That's why I threw the X in there. So you're going to get to return permanents, non-land permanents, to their owner's hands, and it will be based on a particular mana value. So if it kind of mirrors the white one, then it would be a mana value of 4, but there isn't a ton of consistency across the dragons. They have different power and toughness, different casting costs, so there's really no way to know for sure with that. And then on the second ability, it's mill 6 cards, then return up to X instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. And again, I'm just putting the X in here because we can't see the number. So my guess is this is mill 6 cards, then return up to either 2 or 3. That's my guess. 2 or 3 instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. So this is a potent setup. You can either bounce permanents that are causing problems for you, or you can get instants and sorceries back from your graveyard that you've previously used in the game, or maybe even something extra if you milled a useful spell into your graveyard. So overall, not too shabby. Obviously, we're going to need to know the power and toughness on this one. I'm expecting that it's probably going to be in the 4/4 range. It's probably not going to be the biggest of the dragons, but you never know. With that 6 casting cost, they might have made it a bit beefier. So we have some other dragons to talk about, obviously. The next one is the green one that's down in the bottom right-hand corner. This is Kura, the Boundless Sky. And I have to say, I am so stoked about this guy. As a mono green player, having this green dragon, it's like, yes, dude, I get smashed by flyers so frequently. If I don't have some kind of like rabid bite or random reach creature, the flyers just smoke me. You've got this thing right here where not only does it fly, but it has death touch. So it's like, bro, I can take down any flyer. Doesn't matter how big it is, I'll bam. Does it got indestructibility? No. Then get wrecked. And when the dragon goes, you get to search your library for up to 3 land cards and obviously reveal them and then shuffle your deck. But it's not basic lands. You can get 3 of any land type. So that seems like it could actually be used in combo decks that don't even really play green and are just, yo, let me get into the graveyard, use something that resurrects it for a second and then slaps it right back in the graveyard at the end of turn or immediately, and then I'm going to just go and get all the lands I need to enact my diabolical plan. And if that wasn't good enough, if the whole, yo, I can actually go grab you 3 of any land wasn't good enough, your other option is you can make an XX green spirit creature token, where X is the number of lands you control. So you can just have a big, fat, oh, did you just smoke the dragon? Great, now I have a Gigantor smashing beast. Like, dude, this is everything my green deck wants. I am so stoked about this dragon. And look at the artwork, right? This is intense. This is Jugen Reborn with crazy, like, stag antler horns and stuff. Wait till you see the other artwork that shows these dragons and the story behind it. It's dope. But anyways, let's continue onwards and talk about the other dragons. Now, Junji and Atsushi are the last 2 that we have to talk about. These ones have been previously spoiled in other videos, right? We've seen these in different variations. So, Junji is 2 black and 3 for a 5/5 dragon spirit. When Junji goes, you can make your opponent discard 2 cards and lose 2 life, right? That's one of the abilities. And then basically you also have the option to resurrect a non-dragon creature from a graveyard and lose 2 life. So this thing is really potent. Either you smack your opponent's hand and make them lose life, or you res a non-dragon and you pay some life, but who really cares? Because obviously getting to res the dragon's a super, or like a non-dragon I should say, super powerful effect, right? So Junji's great. The one that we saw before had really crushed artwork and everything, so it's nice to be able to see this. He has like ethereal dragon horns, which I really like. They're very ghostly in this image. That's dope, right? Like, this is a solid card. And then you've got Atsushi, the Blazing Sky, sorry. And this one is your 4/4 flyer. This one only costs 2 red and 2. You can't see the casting cost here, but it's 2 red and 2. And 4/4 flying and trample. When this one oh yeah, that's right, sorry. Junji has flying and menace. It's not on the screen, so you can't see it, and I missed that. Now, Atsushi has flying and trample, and basically when Atsushi goes, you get 2 options. Either you exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn, you can play them, or you make 3 treasure tokens. So they're both very speedy acceleration style maneuvers, and Atsushi has some really, really funky artwork as well. Now, I'm going to put an image up for you on the screen. This is the Kami Dragons Reborn, okay? So, this is the story behind it. Basically, what happened is all 5 of the Kamigawa dragons from the original Kamigawa set have been reincarnated as these new iterations of the dragon. So, back in the day in Kamigawa, you had the Kami War, where the spirits were against the people, but the spirit dragons were on the side of the actual like humans and stuff like that. They were essentially aligned against their fellow Kami. And as a result, a bunch of these dragons lost their lives. So the white aligned dragon, he died Yosai, right? He died protecting Agonjo. Jugen fell while protecting the monks that existed in the Jukai forest. And Kaiga, the blue-aligned one, he died saving the scholars and wizards over in Manamo, right? So that just left Ryusai and Kakusho. And Kakusho died years later when there was this like massive Oni invasion that went into the Takanuma swamp. So Kakusho tried to stop that from happening, lost their life, and that just left Ryusai. Now you flash forward further into Kamigawa's history at this point, right? And Ryusai is the only dragon left, and now you have this massive wave of Oni that are trying to take over all of Kamigawa and just lay waste to everything. So at this point, the snake people over the Orochi, right? They do a ritual that resurrects Jugen. And Jugen and Ryusai together were enough to stop the Oni invasion that was trying to take over Kamigawa. But ultimately, Jugen could feel that they were no longer aligned with the world of Kamigawa. The world had shifted, basically, from the time frame when Jugen lost their life to the time frame when they were resurrected. The spirit of Kamigawa had shifted so much that the dragons were no longer in tune with it. They were no longer connected to the world the way they were supposed to be. So at that point, Jugen set out on a quest and essentially gathered up the remaining essence that existed of Yosai and Kaiga and Kakusho, and then returned with that essence and gathered up Ryusei as well. And all 5 of the dragons, the 2 living and the 3 essence, all went into this crystal egg. And this crystal egg was set at the foot of Boseiju, the sheltering bough, right? And so that egg sat there for 50 years until basically everything was ready and they had burst forth in their brand new forms, right? So all of a sudden, Yosai is now Ayo, right? Ryusei is now Atsushi. You have Kakusho, who has become Junji. You have Jugen, who is now known as Kura. And then, who did I miss here? Who did I miss? Did I miss Yosai's A? Jugen's Kai, whatever. You know what? You figure it out. Obviously, I'm just going to keep going on here. But look at the artwork. Look at how awesome this is up at the top with the dragons flowing forwards. And Jugen has been reborn as this sort of like multi-hued dragon put in the front, given more prominence for the role that Jugen took overall in bringing the Kami dragons back to Kamigawa. And I have to say, I actually really like this as a concept. This was a really great way to take the original spirit dragons, take a whole bunch of story, wrap it in, and then design new ones that fit into the new Kamigawa, but ultimately still resonate with the ancient spirit of the original dragons, because those older dragons totally had the same sort of, when I go to the graveyard, you get this kind of bonus effect. So it's a really great reincarnation concept, and the saga artwork, because this is artwork for a saga that should be in Kamigawa and Neon Dynasty, is absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful piece of artwork that I would be very happy to have as a wall scroll. So that wraps up the Dragon spoiler video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, my friends. I now have an Amazon affiliate link down in the description. So if you shop on Amazon, you use that link, it does help out the channel. I get a little taste of that goodness too. So today, I'm going to make it difficult. Only people whose names start with a Q and a Z may comment. So I'm ready to hear from all of you Quambomulums and Zampleflorms. Anyhow, thanks for coming by. See you next time.